Hey there, Julia here. So, Stationery Fest is less than a month away. I am super excited. If you didn't know, Stationery Fest is Yoseka's stationery first stationery pen show event, and it's 3 days in August of vendors, workshops, meetups in the stationery world, the fountain pen world. It all is colliding in Brooklyn, August 7th through 9th, and I'm super excited to go and take part. There's going to be a ton of vendors from Japan, Taiwan, just like things that are a little harder to get your hands on here in the US. So that's also going to be super special. So with that, so many choices, so many just things to look at on their site. If you go through their exhibitors list, it's just a little mind-blowing, to be honest. So with all of that, I absolutely had to make a wish list and really a whole Stationery Fest insert that I'm going to be using throughout the event, and I'll show you that and what I'm bringing in another video. But today I just want to go over my wish list. So talk about the pens that I have my eye on, some nib grinds that I think I want to get, inks, and just other stationery in general that I have my eye on. Okay, so this is my setup that I'm working on for Stationery Fest. I have the Yoseka Stationery Travelers Company collab insert that I'm using for the Stationery Fest trip. I've already started working on some of the pages, but I do have quite a bit to work through, and I will show you guys this insert in another video once I have that all set up. But today we are looking at wish list items, and pretty close up front I have this wish list spread, and I also have, before I clamp it down, I also have a nib work spread that I need to work on as well, where I'm going to be writing down all of the nib Meister appointments that I have and what I'm thinking I'm gonna get versus what I actually get here. I probably need to put tabs or something on this as well, because there are a lot of sections that I have going on here, and I don't want to spend so much time just like chaotically flipping through this insert. All right, let's talk pens first. So one of the things I have on my pen wish list for Stationery Fest is some sort of Platinum 3776. I don't have any platinum pens. I just feel like it's something that I want to explore because I do really love Sailor, another Japanese brand. I really love Pilot. So it's just another brand that I want to explore, and I want to make sure that I get my hands on it first before committing. And if you're curious, I am writing with the Monte Grappa Elmo 1 fountain pen, and it is inked with, my brain is totally losing what it's inked with. I'll put it on the screen, and there's also a currently inked video where I go through all the pens I have inked up right now. So yeah, Platinum 3776, and in particular, there is a Japanese exclusive chai tea colorway that I think is really neat, and I'm not sure if the vendors are bringing over Japanese exclusive items. That would be awesome. And if not, I really like the calico. I'm not sure if that's what that's called, but it is a calico looking pen. There's going to be a lot of overlay images in this video because I don't have these things, but I want you to see these things. So yeah. So in general, speaking of the Japanese exclusives, I just have my eye out in general for any Japanese exclusives, because even though I can get my hands on them now through a proxy Japanese address service, it is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. So I'm just hoping that we'll see those at Stationery Fest. This one's a long shot, but I really want to see if I can get my hands on the capless in the whiskey colorway because it's so pretty. It's like a gorgeous dark brown to black situation with the gold hardware. Love it. So there's that. And then while we're on the topic of Japanese exclusives and Japanese pens, I have to look at some Nagasawa pens. So Nagasawa is a shop in Japan, but they do a lot of collaborations with Sailor, and a lot of their pens look Sailor-like, even though you don't see the Sailor branding necessarily on them. I think their colorways are really fun. In general, the Japanese and the different dreamy colorways, like, please share some over here. So yeah, definitely gonna be having an eye out for something Nagasawa. Also, this is just stirring up tea, but Esterbrook, apparently they are going to have some sort of big release at the DC Pen Show, which is just a couple of days before Stationery Fest. And I just have an inkling that there will be some sort of green 70s inspired Esty. And we're gonna put in parentheses, new release. And more specifically, I think they're going to release an all green SD that matches the Toyo box that they did. But yeah, a box that matches, or a pen that matches that. I love that green. And I think with gold hardware, oof, that would be a yes automatically. So then the last thing that I specifically have my eye on as far as pen goes are pens from the Carolina Pen Company. There's not many pen makers that I know of going to Stationery Fest, and I always just love seeing Carolina Pen Company's table set up. It's just like a good type of chaos. There's just pens scattered everywhere and they're all swirly, and it's like a pool of color that's just super good. So I do want to check those out. I haven't even tried any of their pens before, so my interest is piqued and I definitely want to check those out. Okay, before we move on to inks, let's talk a little bit about the nibs that are on my wish list. So I have my little pen case here. I'll try to link as many things as I can down in the description. I got this from Pen Chalet, but I have all the pens that I think I want to get nib work done on in this section of this case. And so let's go ahead and talk through this. So there are going to be, I think, 4 Nibmeisters at Stationery Fest. I plan on having appointments with 3 of them, and I've already confirmed appointments with 2 of them. So we are on the right track. So the first pen that I have in here that I'm thinking I want to get some work on is this Diplomat Excellence A2. And this one has a medium nib currently, and it's a very beautiful, smooth, medium nib. But the pen itself is pretty, it's pretty, but it's also pretty boring. So I think I want to turn this into a reverse architect. So on the front side, like writing normally, on the writing side, I would like that to write sort of like a medium fine. Obviously, it's going to be on the finer side since groundwork will need to be done. But on the reverse side, when I flip the pen over, it should write as an architect. So thin downstrokes, wide cross strokes. The next one is this Narwhal Horizon. And right now, this has a broad nib. I haven't even inked this pen up. I got it quite a while ago in an Atlas Experience pen sale, and I'm just not the biggest fan of just straight up broad nibs for everyday use. I just don't write in a manner or in the types of notebooks where broad nibs are useful for me. I do want to turn this nib into a medium fine monoline, so it should be very consistent with line width and at a medium fine, it should also have some everyday use for me. And I'm very excited about finally getting to use this pen. The next one is a Taylor Pen Company pen, but that doesn't really matter because it has a Yovo nib. I just picked a pen for it to go in. Right now, this has a medium nib. I want to get a perspective grind on this from Gina at Custom Nib Studio. And I definitely need to try that grind out first because I've never tried it. I can only go off of the description on her website, and it sounds like something I would like. So I thought that would be a good option for that. It's a Yovo nib, so I can swap it out to different pens. I have a surplus of Yovo medium nibs. The next one is this Sailor Pro Gear in a medium, and I would like this to be turned into one of Gina's journaler nibs. And I do have a journaler nib on a Yovo nib already, and so I want to give it a try on the Sailor pen just because I want to see if I also like the journaler with a little bit of feedback. So we're going to see how that works. This is the Benu Euphoria, and I have a broad nib in here. Again, same story as the Narwhal here. It's a broad nib and I haven't been using it as much, and so with this one, I want to work with the nib Taylor and try out a round nose cursive grind. I usually really like any kind of rounded grinds, and so I feel like this may be similar to a cursive italic situation, but with soft edges, so a smooth cursive italic, if you will. And with me having a couple of Benus, I think it'll be fun to switch that nib in and out. And then finally, on my nib grind list, I have this Pelikan M600 in the transparent white. This right now has a medium nib, and it's a super juicy medium nib. I feel like I always say that about Pelikans. They're just super juicy. And when it gets up to medium, that's where I kind of lose it as far as being able to write with it on a daily basis. And so for this, I was thinking of working with the nib Taylor on a seamstress or Oxford grind. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this based on the website. Again, I haven't tried this one yet, so I will definitely need to try it before I decide on it. But the primary position or the writing side is going to be a fine point. And then when you flip it, it's a curved ridge, it says. And I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it says this yields a better daily writing experience for a wider range of users who like fine, but not the let's be extra cautious fine. So that sounds really interesting and something that I may like. And then the Oxford is a small upward bend, kind of like a Waverly nib, I think, but maybe not as severe. And I do like Waverly nibs. I just don't know if I would want to commit to something like that on this particular pen. So yeah, I definitely have to try out some things before I decide with that. So those are my nib grind wish list items, and we can move on to inks. Pretty much immediately on the list were Kobe inks. I have not tried any of them yet, but I'm always just really intrigued by them online, and I've heard that they're really well-performing inks and just well-behaved inks, and I do like the variety of colors that they have. And so I have quite a few. I'm just going to write down the numbers. They all have numbers. So number 10, number 16, number 34, number 45, and number 46. And I'm not saying that I am getting all of these inks, especially in bottles. I just want to try them out. Online, they look really cool, and I can make my decision from here. And I like kind of having this shortened list to work from because I know that it'll probably be overwhelming to see so many inks at one time, and I just don't want to lose sight of life. Okay, the next inks that I want to check out are Andurilium inks. There are a couple, I think like Moth, something brown, warm brown, something like that. There's a couple that I do have my eye on, but in general, I just want to check them out, see what the inks are like. Hopefully I'm able to swatch them and make a decision either way. Yoseka also has a show ink with Robert Oster, and so this will be a Stationery Fest / Yoseka Stationery exclusive, and it's with Robert Oster, and it's called Confetti Blue, which looks like a really pretty, happy blue / turquoise color, and I do think it's something that I would use, and mostly it's just to commemorate the time at Stationery Fest, so definitely want to get my hands on that. And then finally, I think this was a later edition for Stationery Fest, but Linen Toolbar. I've mentioned before, I think in my 8-pin questions video, that I want to try a lot of their inks. I just like the colors. There's something so like sophisticated about the hues that they go with, or really the color tones that they go with. And I think all of them are standard inks, which I'm really preferring right now. And I do have Sesame Oil by them, and I think that's a really great ink. And so I just want to explore what they have to offer a little bit more. And then finally, a note here that I'm trying to not come home with a bunch of inks because I just have so many. I have so many bottles. I have a growing collection of ink samples, and it's just not realistic for me to just own so many inks. And so I just need to keep that note here in mind. So as I'm looking at inks, whether they're on the list or not, I need to keep in mind that I don't want to come home with a bunch of inks. Okay, let's talk about other stationery. There's so many shops, sticker shops, pen cases, paper, stamps. So I'm really trying to keep this a tight list as well, because the pens themselves, I feel like is gonna be a big budget muncher. And so I have to really be careful with inks and other stationery. But first up, and as a definite, is Fountain Pendulum, which is where I got this super cute pen and sample vial holder. And she's just super sweet and has some really great product. So I want to look for 1-ups. So a one sample vial holder and a 1 pen holder. I think that will be something that I could get a lot of use out of, because I do find myself just propping up 1 sample vial to fill from versus maybe a whole lineup that I keep on my desk. So I definitely have my eye out for any 1-ups from her. And then Everyday Explorers Co. In particular, I am looking for letter stickers. I've had their letter stickers like on my Christmas and birthday and all of that wish list for quite some time. And I just think that the variety is insanity, at least on the website. So I'm hoping that they have some of those letter stickers in person. I had these letter stickers, which are a little smaller and a little more basic compared to these. And this last trip to New York, I left the stickers in the airplane little pocket that's in front of your seat and lost all of my letter stickers. So I'm hoping that I can re-up with the letter stickers that I want. Another thing that's kind of a must, and I don't know from where, but I need to get a new Sailor Hokoro holder for my nibs. The one that I had previously just cracked. I don't know if it was me just being a little too forceful putting in the different nibs or what, but it's cracked and it's unusable right now, and so I need to get a replacement. One of the things I'm most excited about getting and checking out is a plotter, and this has just been an ongoing thing for maybe a year or so, I've had my little eyebrows lifted at Plotter, checking it out, being intrigued. The Plotter is similar to this like TN setup with a leather cover, but the inside, instead of these bands, they have just like really tiny rings. And so it's a very customizable system, much like the Traveler's notebooks, but with the added flexibility of rings. And so I'm gonna really try my hardest to only get one, but I am in particular looking at the Bible size, which I think is close to the personal size. And I wanna use this for my pen, maybe ink directory. So just changing up how I do my pen and ink journals, and maybe just having all of my pens and inks in this Plotter. And I really should only get one so I can test out the system first. They are pretty pricey, and so I want to make sure that I like it first before diving in any deeper and changing other parts of my planning and journaling system. So yeah, that is pretty much the main categories of wish list items. I am attending several workshops at Stationery Fest. The nib grinding and tuning, I think it's mostly nib tuning. The nib tuning workshop with the nib tailor, I'm super excited about, just because I haven't talked about it much on YouTube, but I have been playing around with grinding nibs, and it's been super fun, and I'm hoping that that is an ongoing thing and I keep getting better. So I'm very excited about this nib workshop and just being able to ask questions and learn a little bit more about adjusting nibs. I'm also taking an Inky Messes workshop with Aziza from Gourmet Pens. Super excited about that just because I love playing around with inks and painting and just learning new ways to utilize all the inks that I have. And I'm also taking the monoline workshop, which, I mean, I love lettering. I love learning new things, learning new ways to utilize ink, as I said before. So that's going to be a long workshop, and I am super excited to dive in to mixing inks to make letters, and I think that's going to be such a fun time. And then finally, I am planning on attending one of the fountain pen meetups. Fountain pen people are my favorite people, and I'm just looking forward to swapping pens, trying different inks, trying different nib grinds that people have, just talking about pens and inks with my people. So there are my wish list items. Let me know if you're going to Stationery Fest. I'd love to see you. I'd love to say hello. And yeah, it would be great. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to just see some other Stationery Fest content, because that is upcoming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.